What's up, beautiful people? Let me ask you something. Remember that feeling when you first held that DualSense controller? That weight, those curves, that promise of next-gen gaming that made your wallet cry but your heart sing? Yeah, me too. And after spending an honestly embarrassing number of hours with my PS5, we're talking my console sounds like a jet engine hours here, I'm ready to share the absolute cream of the crop. Today, we're diving into the top 20 PS5 games that have absolutely blown my mind, stolen my sleep, and made me call in sick to work. Allegedly. From games that made me ugly cry at 3 a.m. to ones that had me throwing my controller, sorry, DualSense, you're expensive now, these are the titles that justify that massive white router sitting next to your TV. Kicking things off at number 20, we've got Bridge of Spirits and holy quality graphics Batman. This game looks like if Studio and Disney had a baby and that baby learned Unreal Engine. I'm not even exaggerating. The first time those little rot creatures appeared on screen, my grown self literally went out loud. No shame. The combat starts simple but gets surprisingly deep. You're basically conducting an orchestra of adorable forest spirits while smacking corrupted enemies with your staff. And when you nail that perfect parry timing, chef's kiss. The boss battles, though, they'll humble you real quick. This cute-looking game will absolutely hand you your behind on a silver platter, especially on higher difficulties. What really gets me is how the DualSense implementation makes every action feel tangible. Drawing your bow has this perfect resistance in the triggers, and you can literally feel the rot scurrying around through the haptics. It's like having tiny hamsters running across your palms, but in a good way. That sounds weird, but you know what I mean. Coming in at 19 might seem like the kids' game on this list, but hold up, this is pure joy injected directly into your veins. The soundtrack alone deserves an award. They took actual licensed music and built entire levels around the beats. You haven't lived until you've platformed to Uptown Funk with every jump perfectly synced to Mars. Playing co-op with friends? Absolute chaos. It's like Mario Party levels of friendship-ending potential, but in the best way. My buddy and I spent 20 minutes just slapping each other off ledges instead of actually progressing. The game encourages this madness too. There are literally score bonuses for slapping your friends. Could never. The DualSense features here are playful perfection. Every material runs across has a different feel. Metal platforms feel, snow feels crunchy, and don't even get me started on the bubble wrap sections. I may have spent an unnecessary amount of time just walking back and forth on those. No judgment, please. Number 18 goes to Gran 7, and before you racing fans riot, hear me out on the placement. This is the most car guy game that ever car. It's not just a racing game, it's a love letter to automotive history written in 4K HDR at 60. The mode is genius, it's like but for cars. Gotta collect that entire evolution of the 911, and before you know it, you're watching 20-minute documentaries about the history of rotary engines at 2 a.m. The game tricked me into learning, and I'm not even mad about it. Driving feels absolutely sublime with the DualSense. You can feel the road texture changing under your tires, the ABS kicking in during hard braking, and the way different weather conditions affect your grip. During my first race in the rain, I could literally feel each tire losing traction individually through the haptics. It's wizardry, I tell you. The only reason it's not higher, the always online requirement and the initial economy grind were rough. They've improved it since launch, but man, those first few months were like working a second job, except the job was racing virtual cars for virtual credits. At 17 is what happens when you mix Groundhog Day with Dishonored and add a heavy dose of 70s funk. This game is style incarnate. The aesthetic is so strong, I wanted to redecorate my entire apartment to match's vibe. Those orange and purple sunsets, magnificent. The loop concept seems simple: kill 8 targets in one day to break the loop, but the execution is chef's kiss brilliant. Every run teaches you something new. Oh, so if I flood this area in the morning, this person moves here in the evening. It's like the world's most violent puzzle box, and you're both the solver and the solution. The invasion mechanic, where another player can jump into your game as pure anxiety fuel, but in the best way. Nothing gets your heart pumping like perfectly setting up a domino chain of assassinations, only to hear Juliana is on the hunt. Suddenly, your stealth game becomes hide-and-seek with guns. My only gripe, once you figure out the perfect loop, the magic fades a bit. But those first 20 hours of discovery, absolutely intoxicating. Sweet dimension-hopping space Jesus, Ratchet, and Clank, Rift Apart at number 16 is the game that made everyone go, oh, so this is next gen. The instant loading between dimensions isn't just a tech demo, it's gameplay magic. 1 second you're on a pirate ship, next you're in a robot metropolis, and your brain just accepts it because it's so seamlessly smooth. Rivet is an absolute treasure, female representation, and she's not just Ratchet but girl. She's got her own personality, her own struggles, and her own hammer that I desperately wanted to be real so I could mount it on my wall. The chemistry between all the characters is level heartwarming. The weapon variety is insane as always. The topiary sprinkler that turns enemies into helpless shrubs. Brilliant. The ricochet gun that becomes a pinball machine of death. Yes, please. And everything looks so gorgeous you'll spend half your time in photo mode. Ray-traced reflections on Clank's shiny metal body made me weep actual tears of technological joy. This game doesn't hold your hand. It rips your hand off and makes you grow a new one that's better at dodging. Created something special here. The way the story unfolds through repeated deaths, the house sequences that get progressively more unsettling, the audio logs that make you question everything, it's Christopher levels of wait, what's actually happening here? The DualSense implementation is industry-leading. You can feel the alien rain pattering on Seleni's suit. Different weapons have completely different trigger feelings. The caster locks at different points for different fire modes, and it's so intuitive you don't even think about it after a while. Fair warning, this game will make you rage. You'll lose an hour of progress to a single mistimed dodge, but when you finally beat that boss that's been destroying you, when you get that perfect run going, it's gaming nirvana. Just maybe have a stress ball nearby. Swinging into number 14, Miles Morales isn't just a side story. It's a full emotional journey that happens to feature the best superhero traversal system ever created. The bioelectric venom powers add this incredible crunch to combat that makes you feel like an absolute powerhouse. The winter setting transforms New York into this gorgeous snow globe. And yes, I absolutely spent 30 minutes just watching Miles' different idle animations in the snow. The way his breath fogs up, how he shivers and rubs his arms, Insomniac's attention to detail is borderline obsessive, and I love them for it. That invisible bridge scene with no spoilers, but if you didn't feel something during that moment, you might want to check if you still have a soul. The way this game handles themes of community, responsibility, and belonging while you're literally punching bad guys through walls is masterful. And can we talk about the suits? The programmable matter suit with its digital aesthetic. The Bodega cat suit where you fight crime with a cat in your backpack. Peak gaming fashion right there. Lucky number 13 goes to Horizon Forbidden West. And Guerrilla Games really said, let's make every single frame a desktop wallpaper. This game is so gorgeous it's almost showing off. The underwater sections alone made me question if my PS5 had secretly evolved into some kind of supercomputer. This character development from the first game is fantastic. She's less lone wolf, more reluctantly accepting help while still being kind of awkward about it, which is incredibly relatable. The side characters actually feel like people with their own lives instead of quest dispensers, and some of those side quests hit harder than main story beats in other games. Machine combat is even better than the original. The fights feel like Monster Hunter boss battles. Scanning for weak points, setting up traps, using the environment, every encounter is a puzzle with explosive solutions. The changes traversal completely and flying on it for the first time, I may have hummed the Avatar theme song. don't judge me. My only complaint, the game is almost too big. There's so much to do that I got sidetracked for 20 hours just because I saw a question mark on the map. But when the side content is this good, is that really a complaint? Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut at 12 is the most beautiful murder simulator ever created. Every frame looks like a film. And yes, there's literally a mode, and yes, I played the entire game again in it. The combat evolution from Honorable Samurai to Sneaky Ghost is perfect. You start doing these noble standoffs, and by the end, you're poison-darting people from tall grass like some kind of feudal Batman. The stance system makes every fight feel like a dance water stance for shields, stone for swords, wind for spears. It's rock, paper, scissors, but with katanas and absolutely gorgeous animations. The island expansion adds this whole layer of Jin confronting his past traumas while high on poisonous flowers. It's trippy, emotional, and features some of the best quest design in the entire game. Plus, you can pet more animals, which is obviously Game of the Year material right there. The Japanese lip-sync update for PS5 is a game changer. Playing with Japanese audio and having the lips actually match. It's the way this game was meant to be experienced. Add in the haptic feedback for drawing your bow and the adaptive triggers for perfect parries, and combat becomes almost meditative. Okay, putting Playroom at 11 might seem insane for a pack-in game, but hear me out, this is the most joy per minute I've experienced in gaming. It's only 4 or 5 hours long, but every single second is crafted with more love than some 100-hour epics. This isn't just a tech demo, it's a celebration of PlayStation history that had me going, oh, I remember that, every 30 seconds. The little robot recreations of classic gaming moments. The way GPU Jungle explains how your PS5 actually works while you're platforming through it, educational and entertaining. The DualSense showcase aspects are mind-blowing. The ice skating sections where you can feel every scratch on the ice, the spring suit where the triggers give actual resistance as you compress. It's the game that made everyone go, oh, so this is what this controller can do. I've made every person who's visited my house play this game. It's my PS5 demonstration kit. Feel this rain, feel this sand, feel how different surfaces feel when walks on them. I've become a haptic feedback evangelist, and I regret nothing. Cracking the top 10, Resident Evil Village is what happens when decides subtlety is for cowards. Let's put a 9-foot-tall vampire lady in the game, someone said, and the internet was never the same. But beyond the memes, this game is in variety. Every area feels completely different. The castle is gothic horror, the dollhouse is psychological nightmare fuel. If you didn't scream during that part, you're lying. The factory is body horror action, and the village itself ties it all together with this oppressive atmosphere that makes you never feel safe. The PS5 version with ray tracing makes those castle hallways look absolutely stunning and terrifying. Ladies' dress physics alone probably used half the PS5's power, and I'm not complaining. The way light filters through dusty air, how shadows dance during chase sequences, it's gorgeous horror. Playing with the DualSense, you feel everything. The resistance when you're trudging through snow, the subtle heartbeat when you're low on health, the different feels for each weapon. The shotgun's trigger pull versus the pistols is so distinct that you always know what you're holding without looking. I know putting Cyberpunk at number 9 is controversial, but stick with me. The PS5 version with the 2 update and Phantom Liberty expansion, this is the game we were promised back in 2020. Night City on PS5 is a neon-soaked fever dream running at a smooth 60. The city feels alive in a way the launch version never achieved. Crowds actually exist, traffic behaves somewhat normally, and you can play for hours without the game imploding. Revolutionary concepts, I know. Phantom Liberty's spy thriller story is better than the main campaign. Elba's Solomon Reed is magnificent, and the choices you make actually feel impactful. That ending choice, I sat at that decision screen for 10 minutes knowing there was no perfect answer. It's moral complexity done right. The revamped skill trees and system transform combat. You can be a time-slowing ninja, a smart weapon gunslinger, or a hack-everything. I went full gorilla arms and just punched my way through Night City, and it was glorious. Every feels viable and fun now. Final Fantasy XVI at number 8 throws away turn-based combat and says, what if Final Fantasy was Devil May Cry? And somehow, miraculously, it works. The battles are the most anime thing ever put in a video game. You're literally having kaiju battles where you're punching god beings in the face while orchestral music swells. The fight, when that music kicks in and you're dodging in space, I stood up from my couch and shouted. My neighbors probably think I'm insane. Clive's journey from privileged prince to branded slave to revolutionary is heavy stuff. This isn't your Friendship and Rainbow's Final Fantasy. People die, kingdoms fall, and the game asks real questions about power, oppression, and whether ends justify means. It's Game of Thrones with summons, and I mean that as the highest compliment. The active time lore system is genius for those of us who can't remember 50 fantasy names. Hit that touchpad and boom, instant recap of who everyone is and why they matter. Every RPG needs this. Ring at 7 is From Software saying, what if Dark Souls but everywhere? And then creating a world so vast and detailed that I'm still finding new areas 200 hours in. The sense of discovery is unmatched. You see something weird on the horizon, you go there, and it's always something incredible. A walking cathedral, sure. A giant jar warrior, why not? An entire underground cosmos that rivals the main map in size, just Tuesday in the lands between. The boss variety is insane. From giant dragons to cosmic horror gods to that one crucible knight who made me question my life choices, every fight teaches you something new. Beating after 47 tries didn't just feel good, it felt like achieving enlightenment. I understood the matrix. I became one with the dodge roll. The multiplayer messages and bloodstains create this beautiful shared misery. Try jumping, next to a cliff will never not be funny. Seeing 20 bloodstains in front of a normal-looking chest tells you everything you need to know. It's community storytelling through shared trauma. Spider-Man 2 swings into number 6 by taking everything great about the previous games and injecting them with symbiote steroids. 2 Spider-Men, double the web-slinging, and a story that goes places I didn't expect from a superhero game. The symbiote suit isn't just a cosmetic change, it fundamentally alters how you play. Those tendril abilities make you feel like an absolute monster, ripping groups of enemies apart with savage efficiency. The game makes you feel the addiction to that power, and when Peter gets a bit too aggressive in cutscenes, you think, yeah, I get it. Web wings change everything. That first glide from the financial district to Queens without touching the ground, pure freedom. The way the DualSense triggers adjust tension as you dive and climb, how you feel the wind resistance, it's the closest we'll get to actually being Spider-Man without radioactive spider bites. That one mission, you know, the one with that character in that place. No spoilers, but I had to pause the game and walk around my room. Insomniac chose violence with our emotions, and I respect them for it. The Demon's Souls remake at number 5 is what happens when you give Bluepoint Games a blank check and tell them to make it pretty. This isn't just a remaster. It's a complete reimagining that makes a 2009 game look better than most 2024 releases. The atmosphere is suffocating in the best way. The Tower of Latria's prison section with those mind flayer jailers. The way their bells echo through the halls, getting louder as they get closer. I've never been more tense walking down a video game corridor. The PS5's 3D audio makes you hear them coming from specific directions, turning paranoia into a gameplay mechanic. Every death teaches you something. That dragon on the bridge, lesson in patience. The tutorial boss that's supposed to kill you, lesson in humility, falling off a cliff because you were checking your phone, lesson in paying attention, you fool. The haptic feedback for different weapons is incredible. Great swords feel heavy, daggers feel nimble, and magic tingles through the controller like actual energy. When you're down to your last bit of health and the controller is pulsing with your heartbeat, the tension is unbearable. Number 4 is proof that turn-based combat can still make you scream at your TV in 2024. Studios crafted an RPG where every choice matters, every character is memorable, and yes, everyone is inexplicably attractive. The freedom is intoxicating. Want to talk your way out of fights? Go for it. Want to stack 47 boxes to reach a window instead of using the front door? Valid strategy. Want to romance a bear? I mean, it's actually a druid, but you do you. The dice roll system makes every conversation thrilling. That natural 20 when you need it most feels better than any critical hit in combat. That natural one when trying to impress someone, comedy gold. The game celebrates failure as much as success, with failed rolls often leading to more interesting outcomes than successes. Playing co-op is beautiful chaos. Why did you push that guy off a cliff? He looked at me funny. Fair enough. It's D&D with friends without needing to coordinate schedules or learn rules. The game is the dungeon master, and it's a very permissive one. Bronze medal goes to The Last of Us Part I, and before you say, it's just a remake, let me remind you that this remake looks better than most new games and plays better than it ever has. The visual upgrade is staggering. Joel's eyes actually track objects now. Facial expressions during conversations are so nuanced you can read her thoughts. The infected are even more horrifying, with subsurface scattering making their fungal growths look disgustingly real. The spores floating in the air with ray-traced lighting, nightmare fuel. The gameplay improvements from Part II backwards integrated into Part I create the definitive version. Prone crawling, improved AI, smoother combat. It all makes the moment-to-moment gameplay match the story's quality. The workbench animations where Joel actually crafts modifications, unnecessarily detailed, and I love it. That opening still hits like a truck. Even knowing what's coming, even having played it multiple times, Sarah's section destroys me. The PS5's power makes those emotional moments hit even harder when you can see every micro-expression, every tear, every moment of hope before it's crushed. The way this game handles father-son relationships while you're literally fighting gods is masterful. Trying to be a good dad while also being, creates this beautiful tension. When he says boy softly instead of gruffly, stuff's about to get real. Every realm feels distinct and alive. Industrial mines, Vanaheim's overgrown jungle, the devastated Asgard, each area tells a story through environment alone. The side quests aren't just filler, they're emotional journeys that flesh out this interpretation of Norse mythology beautifully. That sequence, if you've played it, you know exactly which one I mean, where the game becomes something else entirely. No spoilers, but it's the most ambitious single level I've ever played. The way it plays with perspective, time, and gameplay mechanics while maintaining emotional weight is genius. The combat improvements seem subtle but change everything. Weapon swapping mid-combo, the expanded runic attacks, the way Atreus and Freya work as combat partners, every fight flows like water. Or like blood, depending on your perspective. And the crown, the throne, the #1 spot goes to The Last of Us Part II Remastered. This isn't just the best game on PS5. It's one of the greatest achievements in gaming history, and the PS5 version is the definitive way to experience it. This game doesn't just tell a story, it forces you to live it. It makes you do things you don't want to do, feel things you don't want to feel, and question everything you thought you knew about right and wrong. It's uncomfortable, challenging, and absolutely brilliant. The technical achievement is staggering. Native 4K at 60 makes every brutal moment crystal clear. The upgraded character models make every emotional beat hit harder. When hands shake, when jaw clenches, when tears well up in eyes, you feel it in your chest. No Lost Levels mode adds elements that give infinite replayability. You're thrown into random encounters with randomized, and suddenly you're approaching familiar spaces in completely new ways. It's combat chess where every move matters. The guitar minigame isn't just a gimmick, it's a window into soul. Those quiet moments of playing before violence erupts again create this beautiful, horrible contrast. When she can't play properly near the end, if you didn't cry, you're stronger than me. The accessibility options set a new industry standard. Anyone can experience this masterpiece regardless of their abilities. That's not just good game design, that's believing games are art that everyone deserves to experience. And there you have it, folks, the 20 PS5 games that have consumed my life and destroyed my sleep schedule in the best possible way. From the technical showcases to the emotional journeys, from the indie darlings to the AAA blockbusters, this generation has already given us so much, and we're just getting started. Did I miss your favorite? Is my ranking completely insane? Let me know in the comments below. I live for the debate, and honestly, I might have different rankings tomorrow depending on my mood. That's the beauty of this generation. There are so many incredible games that any top 20 list is leaving out masterpieces. If you made it this far, you're a legend. Hit that like button if any of these games have stolen your soul too. Subscribe and ring that bell if you want more deep dives into gaming, because I've got OPIONIONS and a capture card, and I'm not afraid to use them. What game are you playing right now? What's next on your backlog? Let me know below, and remember, your backlog isn't getting smaller, but at least these games make it worth it. Until next time, keep gaming, keep exploring those virtual worlds, and remember, rest mode is for quitters. Peace out.